Hello, world. Welcome back to another episode of Cultural Colloquy. And this guest I have with me today, we only really met twice virtually, but we're here in person, and I'm super excited for you guys to get to know her and for me to get to know her as well. But yeah, we could start you just introducing your name and what would you say got you to where you are today?
Um, my name is Marinuara Lijeia Monroy. It's a really weird, long name.
You're fine.
Probably moving around a lot and meeting new people. I went to two junior highs and two middle schools, and I actually, my mom's friend started a summer camp for kids from different countries, and they needed kids who speak English to like talk to them. So I got to meet different kids from different part of the world, from like Russia, China, and Turkey, and it wasn't weird. It was just meeting new people to me. It was just other kids,
Yeah.
but it definitely impacted how I interacted with other people in the future. It wasn't based on, oh well, I know you from this school. It was just like, oh, a new friend. I'm gonna meet someone new.
That's really cool. And you said this was middle school?
Yeah,
Middle
around
school?
that was like probably around the end of sixth grade. I went for
Okay.
like 3 summers.
That's really cool.
Towards the end, I didn't go as much anymore, and then
Mhm.
finally I aged out of the camp. So I was like, that sucked.
No, it sounds like a good like life experience in and of itself, just meeting people from different backgrounds. But on that, like what does culture look like to you?
Lies.
Lies.
Yeah.
What why do you say that?
Um, there are agreements, social agreements,
Mhm.
so that can really oppress and like put down other people. Because yes, it is a community of people, and I think it's also a reflection of how of your mentality and what you think of.
Mhm.
But it's also like not the best thing in the world, because things like, for example, Thanksgiving or holidays, like they've been so tampered with, we don't know what's real anymore. So it's
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, for example, like there are positive aspects to it, like for
Mhm.
example, Dia de los Muertos. That's like a celebration of the dead. It's like not a sad mourning time. It's a
Yeah.
time to be happy and celebrate them. Like those aspects of culture you can take from, but it's sort
Yeah.
of like, what are you getting out of it? So
Yeah.
you can't take everything.
Kind of like
Yeah.
4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There you
like
go.
no, yeah, I definitely feel the same way. It's like it's almost like watered down and what is it, misrepresented in a way,
Yeah.
and it's like, especially like here in America, like it's American. I call it
Yeah.
being Americanized. Like they like take cultures from other places and Americanize it. But yeah, what do you feel like your place in culture is?
Probably to break traditions and to
Mm.
make new ones,
Mm.
because you can't be stuck in it, because then um, it's not always the healthiest thing. Like, for example, I guess it's just taking the aspects that you like and creating your own traditions and your
Mm-hmm.
own culture and sharing it with other people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's not always the best thing. For example, my mom is came from a Catholic family that she hated, because
Yeah.
they always like, it was very oppressive towards a lot
Yeah.
of, not just their own family members, but other communities. And then
Interesting.
my
Yeah.
dad was Christian, so also oppressive to the communities and within their community. So, but some people do practice those religions and take only the good aspects of it without
Yeah.
harming others. Yeah.
So you feel like your place, even like as an artist, I feel like the role of an artist or their place in the culture is to disrupt and like
Yeah.
to.
Oh,
So
so
it's like correlating with
yeah.
how you feel like you show up outside of your art in the
Mhm.
same way.
Yeah, it was interesting because for our ethnic studies class,
Mm-hmm.
James Baldwin was talking about how our place in society is to, like you said, to disrupt it, to challenge it, because if not, there's that society's doomed. There's no point in it if it doesn't grow. if it just seems the same way.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that literally all day.
Yeah.
But, so I did see like you have a painting up there. I don't know if that's something new, but what are you working on at the moment?
That was just to practice values. I'm actually working on a 40 by 60 inch, it's in the living room.
No,
But
no problem.
it's a skeleton looking in the mirror, and it's another skeleton in the mirror, and then behind it is like a reaper, and I add to it as I go. But right now, the skeleton outside of the mirror, looking at the mirror, is holding a chain, chaining the other skeleton in the mirror. And that skeleton is going to be filled with moss and plants and life. That's what it represents.
Yeah.
And there's going to be golden eyeballs like in the background and then in the mirror, but only looking at that chained one.
Oh, wow.
And it's supposed to be, and that chained one is decayed with mushrooms and
Yeah.
rotting.
Decomposing.
Yeah, and then the background where the reaper is are supposed to be a bunch of hands coming at the one with life. Yeah.
Wow.
And that is right now sort of the theme right now is self-hate and like hatred. I'm on that part of my life right now. Yeah.
I mean, in a negative way or a positive? You feel like it's something you're getting out of?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm getting
really
out
cool.
of it. Yes. This is my way of getting out of coping with life.
No, that's beautiful. Because I feel like expressing that, like through that, and being able to just express it in general, I feel like it's really, really healthy.
Yeah.
A healthy way of like expressing your feelings.
Yeah, and that definitely has a lot to do with my mom and her process, like metaphysics and her growing and seeing her whole transformation. Yeah.
That's really cool. Damn. What would you say your biggest success this month? Or like, it doesn't have to be like this month, but like, I guess this year or in general, yeah.
Right now, finishing a sketchbook because you could see the difference from like when I first got one as a kid until now. Because I thought sketchbooks were like a reflection of how good you were, or like how well or you are on the way through your process in art.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it's only supposed to make sense to you. It's not supposed to make sense to anyone. And it's just really a place to just dump everything, and it's messy as long as it makes sense to you.
Is it that one right there, or is it another one?
No, well, this one's what I sort of started to, when I started to figure that out, was to dump.
Yeah.
But one I'm working on right now is another one over there.
Yeah, so you have a lot over there.
Yeah, that's well, no, those are actually a collection of blank ones that also another bad habit. Yeah, another bad habit.
No, it's not a bad habit. You're being prepared. That's called preparation.
No, they're cheap in Ross. But this is the one I'm working on now. A lot of life and death.
Interesting.
And each one has a quote that I've pre-written and then decided what I'm gonna.
So you come up with a quote and then.
Well, I find them.
Oh, you find them
online or especially Instagram.
Yeah. And I know you guys can't see this right now, but it's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and at first it was just picking cards, and then whatever the quote was, it actually matched the card.
Interesting. Like it matched your drawing?
Yeah. Well, no, I did the quote first, and then picked the card.
Okay.
That one I never got to finish.
So you've completed like this whole book?
No, not yet. I'm halfway there. I'm hoping to finish it this year.
Wow. What that honestly, that like I forgot what it's called, but it's like a not a disease, but like a phobia.
Oh my God, yes.
That's what that reminded me of.
Don't say that.
But like
I got that idea from that. Like it was like those videos where it's like
you see like the person's holes.
But yeah, that's when I started like brainstorming instead of just drawing. This one, I'm still getting more comfortable. I'm starting to get more comfortable writing in it because this was before I started this. When I started this, so I still had that mentality. It's like, it had to be a certain drawing each time. Yeah.
But do you mind stopping and like explaining what the bubble
yeah.
chart?
So this sketchbook, I started naming sketchbooks after I named this one. This one's called Leftovers, which is what all the paintings are about.
Wow.
But this one's called Forced Reality.
Mm.
And I was trying to figure out, it's just a brain dump, but the bubbles that I have sticking out is defeat, loss, stress, confusion, shoving, portals, disassociation, fog, dead. Pressure, perspective, unbalanced, and scared. And then the main ideas, or I try to figure out what the next drawing is going to be. It's just random.
Is these right here?
Yeah. Melting, being upside down, chopping a body, animals, skeletons, a family dinner, but they're eating each other. A woman on fire, a hair on fire, a body melting, which is actually this one. It's the hair on fire.
Oh, wow.
And
I
then
love that.
this quote is from Van Gogh: "Normality is a paved road. It's comfortable to walk, but no flowers grow."
Mm. Wow, you that's amazing.
Thanks.
I think I really,
Yeah.
truly, and honestly, like.
This one, I never finished. It's just a sketch. It's still getting comfortable. And then I started watching The Sandman. I don't know if you've seen that show. I'm in love with it.
You recommend it?
Yes, it's really cool because it's this idea of if people go to heaven. I mean, obviously it's not explaining it in the show, but it's interesting to think about it. If people go to heaven, as part of the enjoyment in heaven, knowing that other people are suffering. And it's
still on Earth.
Yeah, or do people in hell not know that there's a heaven? Or do they know? Like, it's that
Interesting.
Yeah, right. Like, you don't know.
I will definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, and that's that one. But then I started getting into statues and faces. That's the one I did during the...
I remember, yeah.
And then this one I started, didn't finish. This one's actually, I love this quote. It's, "Do you know why hugs are so beautiful? Because the right side of you does not have a heart, so it's empty. And when you hug, you will have a heart on both sides."
I love that.
Right? This is another bubble, brain dump. Impatience, confusion, also for forced reality. Confrontation with self, under the skin, self-consciousness, injustice, secluded, frozen hands, vanity, strangling.
And what would you say, like, forced reality, like, when you say forced reality, is it like the reality you feel like is forced on us, or?
I think it's sort of realizing the world that you're in, and then trying to cope with it, and then sort of waking up like, oh, nothing, like, this really isn't perfect, or, oh, I had prejudice towards this person without really knowing them, or oh, this is something I really need to work on myself.
Yeah. Like, it's almost like a self-awareness.
Yeah.
More of a self-awareness than anything else.
Yeah,
that's really
that's
cool.
it for this. I still need to fill this by December. That's my goal.
That's your goal? Damn. You got this. You got this. What has your biggest obstacle been, and how did you get over it?
Probably a restraining order on my dad. Yeah,
Really?
and I've already processed this, so I am comfortable talking about it.
Okay.
It was sort of that because, like how I told you, I lived in my aunt's garage, and we were in the best financial position, so we couldn't go with that restraining order process from the beginning. We didn't, like, have the money or anything.
Yeah.
So the way my mom, like, taught us how to cope with that was to always say yes, lie, and just tell him what he wants to hear, type of thing. So that became my programming. So I knew nothing other than that. So then when we were in a better financial position, we were living here, and we still didn't want to, because he sort of wanted us to stop our lives for him. Like, stop all activities, stop all events, and it's like, well, we can't, I need to move on.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I didn't know what to do. My mom was like, well, why don't you just say no? I said, and then I broke down because I was like, what do you mean no? Because it was the first time she had said, well, why don't you just say no? Yeah. So after 17 years of programming, and then you're like, well, why don't you say no? I got mad. So, of course, like, what are you talking about? So it was just like that whole thing was sort of a big closing of a long cycle of family tradition of having to put up with all of those.
Damn.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest obstacle in my life.
Wow. No, that's saying, Yeah,
so it was like I had to reprogram myself into like a new
Yo,
code.
you're amazing for that because like I feel like saying no, especially to like someone like your dad or a
Yeah.
father figure in general, like anyone that you feel like is a parental figure, it's
Yeah.
hard, you know.
Because you grow up believing they're right.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
you almost don't see them as a parent
mhm.
in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
that's
I
really
really don't.
strong of you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Um, what do you want to? Well, I know you mentioned like you want to finish that by
Mhm.
December. Do you have any other goals that you want to accomplish by the end of the year?
Probably have just getting more into a good schedule and into drawing and painting, because I've had my job and then an art program that I'm not really involved in anymore,
Mm.
and then I was doing a lot of like I've been doing sports since middle school, and then I stopped that this year.
Yeah,
So now my sole focus is on art. So probably just
that's really cool.
just having
Yeah.
a good schedule with that. I'm still practicing. It's
No.
not enough.
Yeah, no, it's you'll figure it out, I'm sure. So you feel like what you have to do to get there is just like figuring out like
Yeah, good
timing,
schedule.
good
Yeah.
schedule. So what are your passions and what do you love to do like besides art, painting?
I like to read, obviously, as you can see in my room. Um, and I like to plant. I like plants.
Oh,
I'll
we can like
Yeah,
go out
I'll
after.
show you. I have a lot of aloe vera plants.
Okay.
So I started with two small ones, and you'll
Mm.
see they're huge now. And I
Oh
didn't know
wow.
that they would get that big.
Yeah.
And they had babies, so now I have like 15 tiny aloe vera plants.
That's so cool.
And I remember the first time I got my first mint plant, and I killed it, and so I brought it to my grandma, and she brought it back to life.
Oh
But
wow.
she looked at me and she said, maybe you should stick to things you're good at. Because I killed the plant,
Yeah.
and I never really like got with plants. But then quarantine hit, and then we needed something to do, so I got into that.
Got into you became a plant mom.
Yeah, literally.
That's cool. So planting, reading, is that how you spend like most of your time, like when you're not in school or painting? Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Other than that, I yeah, I can't really think of other things. Oh, my cousin, she loves to go to new coffee shops
Okay.
and to new like little stores. So I'll go on her little adventures on the
That's
weekends.
cool.
Sometimes she does that.
No, that's
Yeah.
cool. It's always good to get out your comfort zone.
Yeah,
I
she
feel
definitely
like.
taught me to do that, because she'd be like, "No, look, this is really cute. We can go here at this time." Like, I don't want to leave my safe space, but okay.
No, I feel that. So you would say like you're more introverted. Definitely, I felt that.
Yeah, introverted, definitely. Yeah,
Introverted.
I'm getting more comfortable. Like, I'm not nervous for public speaking,
That's really
and if
good.
I meet new people, it's sort of like I'm an introvert with extroverts, but I'm an extrovert with introverts. So
Okay, no, yeah, I got that. I
It's
got
like
that.
if there's a lot of people, they're very loud. I'm like, I don't want to talk. I'm okay.
No, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It's interesting dynamic. Um, no, that's really cool. Do you have like any other forms of art that inspire your pieces, like the books you read or music or
Probably ceramics.
really?
Yeah, I work at a ceramics camp in the summer, and it's called Mud Puppies, and it's just
Okay.
teaching ceramics to little kids.
That's cool.
And it was sort of like I liked it, but I wasn't so passionate about it.
Mhm.
But I've gotten into it, and
Is
like
that
you can
what some
see
of
like
those?
yeah,
Oh,
all
you made
little,
those?
the little red ones and that yellow one, and then I made that blue city thing with the person falling.
Oh wow, you're wow.
So I'm not so big into it. Oh, and I made the
Yeah.
mushroom bowls.
What?
Yeah.
How you gonna say you're not into it? And
Okay.
like, you're making like
It's
pretty
it's
advanced.
like getting there.
That's really cool.
Thanks.
Dang. So with that, like, you're interested in like sculpting too, or would
Yeah.
you ever?
Well, I don't know about sculpting yet. I've thought
Okay.
about it.
Mhm.
But that's like a whole nother thing. That's like really using your hands and feeling what you're making.
Yeah.
That's like art. You can make whatever you want on like, but it's
It's a
2D.
canvas, yeah.
But sculpting is like
I mean, isn't that considered sculpting?
a little bit. It's like
No, you're really talented. That's so cool. So you say ceramics. So, in what ways like has ceramics changed how you go about like making an art piece? You feel like?
Definitely, because with ceramics, it's like a lot of your hands, and you're thinking about not just what it looks like, but what it feels like. When I'm painting something, I'm also, I guess I'm also thinking about what it feels like when I'm painting it. So if the light's hitting it this way, yeah, there's a shadow, but is it bumpy, or if I had my hands on it, like what's it gonna look like?
The texture of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So that's probably
really cool.
how it's mostly impacted.
Damn. That's cool. Um, who are your role models, and in what ways have they inspired you?
Definitely my mom, just
Okay.
because, like I said, her whole transformation from that toxic Mexican traditional mentality to being patient with herself and learning about herself. So because she was willing to put work into herself and learn like about her emotions and about what she went through, she didn't really put that much expectation into us, so it let us do whatever we want.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's parents take notes.
Yeah.
Parents take notes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you find yourself wanting to paint about life and death often? And is there a process to coming up with an idea for pieces?
Yeah, sort of like how I showed you with like the bubble.
Yeah.
But I think life and death is my main theme. The theme for those 5 big pieces was leftovers,
Yeah.
and at first it was just like decaying dead stuff, but then it sort of became very symbolic. So then I guess the process for that would be probably definitely what's going on in my life in the current situation, and like what am I getting out of it, which in the painting would represent growth, or what am I struggling with. It's sort of like pulling me down, because like for example one of them is like the skeleton with the coins coming out of its head. That originally was supposed to be how like it's only sort of like that concept, like after you're dead then people care about you type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's only after you're dead then you realize how valuable you are, and that there's a fish hook in it taking the golden rib from the skeleton, and it's sort of representing, well, they people also only benefit from you after you're dead, like from your gifts.
Yeah.
To really appreciate it, type of thing.
Is that how you feel like about yourself?
Just
like
a little bit.
That you're only gonna be appreciated like after you.
Well, I think a lot of artists are only appreciated after they're dead. So it's kind of sad thinking about it, but I think you'd really have to probably like the really old masters, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. The only reason they were really known was because they made politicians more famous, and because they glorified certain people in order to gain that fame. And because we now sort of have standards and self-respect, we sort of, focus on us. And so I guess, the process of thinking is just thinking what am I feeling and what's going on, and then just throwing it on a page and then figuring out what the scene's going to look like.
I did see, so you feel like reality like dictates what you paint or want to paint most of the time?
Life situations. I think, for example, the one where the skeleton is looking at the metal door with the painting on top of it. No, not that one.
I know. We'll have it in the zine. You guys can check it out on the website.
But that one, it was that was during the time where I was separating from basketball, from that team, and because I really had nothing in common with them besides the sport. So it was sort of like feeling isolated type of thing. But then I figured out there was a big difference in like loneliness and wanting to be, just being solitary, or how do you say it? Just being alone and feeling lonely type of thing.
Okay.
So at first it was very depressing to think, oh well none of these friends are really my friends. But then I found so much comfort in finding out about myself and being with myself type of thing. So that's a whole nother.
You became your own best friend.
Yeah, literally.
No, that's like a very powerful thing, and that's something I feel like I also realized like this year. I feel like that's something an artist has to go through in a way. But that's really cool that you realize that about yourself. So would you say like, because I did see in one of the paintings, people wearing masks, and there was an American flag, and like
Oh
there were bars.
yeah, that was an assignment for the play Yellowface that our school put
Okay.
up. It's sort of it was this play that was an Asian American was being played by a white guy. So and it was really upsetting, of course, to
Yeah.
the Asian community and how they viewed people, like how would they think there's thousands of people that can play this part, but why are you picking this white guy that's
Yeah.
with no representation? So
Damn.
that one was the stripes on the flags are the bars that keep people behind, and the person's on their phone. And the fire's supposed to represent racism, and they're using a small spray bottle because they don't care.
Yeah. Interesting. So do you feel like as an artist, like it's important for you to like paint things like that and like
I think
almost
because
like a revolutionary? Sorry to
yeah,
cut you
no,
off.
I
Yeah.
was thinking about that, but I don't think I'm at that place yet because
Mhm.
that was for an assignment, but made me realize that maybe I do want to do that in the future.
Mm.
But I don't think you can talk about um, outside political problems, even moral problems, until you figured yourself out. Because you can't really have an opinion on something if you don't have like set morals and set opinions about yourself and expectations.
That's true.
Because
Yeah.
then, so you have to figure out, okay, what do you agree with, what you don't agree with, and then you can make create something out of it.
Yeah. And you still feel like you're on that journey? You
Yeah.
feel like okay.
Yeah, it's just hard to. It feels very fuzzy to paint something about that I'm not so sure. Like it's an opinion, but it's like I'm not like, oh, I'm sure. I stand by this. Like I bet my life on it that this is what I think is right.
Yeah.
So it's like really hard to do that when you don't figure yourself out.
Yeah, no, I feel like you I mean, with time, that comes with time.
Yeah,
like,
I
as an
still need
artist, as you
some
develop,
time. Yeah.
because you're only 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely will figure that out with time. I want to say like I didn't figure that out till I was like 19, turning to 20. You know, like figuring out like art. I feel like it's not even about figuring out like who you are in a way, but finding your voice.
Yeah,
Finding your voice.
that's a good. I like how the way you put it.
But yeah, is there an end goal for the art that you create, or you're just?
Well, for the art now, it's just to invoke an emotion for who's ever looking at it. Because a lot of the paintings I do is my way of processing, like, like what I'm feeling. And then it's sort of, it's just to show and to portray those feelings. And yeah. And also for interpretation to whoever's looking at it.
So do you like to let your art speak for itself, or do you like try and like tell people like, oh, I meant this by?
Yeah, no, I guess it could be spoken for itself because some people notice some things and some people don't notice other little things. So it's depending on how they look at it. Yeah.
What would the title to a film about your life be?
That's hard. I don't think it's something cheesy.
You said it wouldn't be something cheesy?
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to be something cheesy. Something like about figuring yourself out, like self-awareness or yeah, it's such a hard question because it's like defining your life in a title.
Yeah. Would it help if I like gave you an
yeah,
example?
what would you?
Well, mine, I kind of like figured this out a while ago. It would be in passing. And
Why in passing?
just going back to like how we were talking about like life and death, I feel like we all are headed in the same direction, you know, we're all not going to be here one day, and you know the people you meet in passing to where it is you're going, you
Oh,
know. So that's why I would title it In Passing.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. You had time to think about it. That's not
Yeah,
fair.
no, I have years,
Um,
so.
Probably, um, probably just the word journey, because
Yeah.
it's not even just one journey. It's like
It's okay.
you're going every new thing that you learn or every new thing that you try out. That's a whole nother journey and a whole nother
Yeah.
thing that you figure out about yourself.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, life is definitely a journey.
I heard this
Um,
thing where it was really cool. Actually, we're like 1 minute from there.
oh no, we're good.
We're good. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
It's well, obviously this isn't factually true. It's a spiritual theory, but it's that we're all celestial beings, and and the universe or God or whatever said, "Would you like to experience anger, hurt, frustration, love, happiness, all of this in one lifetime or multiple lifetimes?" And us celestial beings were like, yes, of course I'd want to. I want to experience all these hurtful experiences that turn out into really beautiful experiences. So, which is, I love that. It's really interesting.
That may be what your film is about.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a title in there somewhere, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Hopefully.
I don't know, but I mean, there's truth to that too. Like, I know you said, oh, it's just a spiritual theory, but I meditate, and I have read like my fair share of like spiritual books and like watched YouTube videos and stuff like that. But the fact that we don't have to go like too deep into it, but like the fact that people don't consider it like truthful is honest, in my opinion. You know, it's like closed-minded in a way.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they believe there's a man sitting in the sky, but not like
like actual energy flowing.
Yeah, that's another conversation.
That could be a whole nother huge conversation. Yeah.
Really. What art form do you feel helps you make sense of your life and the world around you, and in what ways do you feel like it does?
I think, yes, painting, but mostly drawing and sketching, because, again, sketchbook's like a brain dump.
Yeah.
So if I'm having a hard time with something, or I need to figure something out, then it's like, what are those, why am I feeling those feelings? Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
And then, sort of, because also drawing and sketching is a lot faster instead of like putting the time, like the lighting and then what colors to use. So definitely sketching and drawing.
Oh, that's cool. And like in what ways do you feel like sketching and drawing has like helped you make sense of yourself and the world around you?
Well, this so I think it's helped me understand myself first, and only when you really understand yourself can you perceive like the world for what it is.
Yeah.
So for example, childhood trauma. It always comes back to childhood.
Yeah.
Starts in the ages 1 through 7, and obviously we remember them or we don't remember them as a coping mechanism, and whatever future situations that we deal with and we either stress out or freak out, it's our body telling us, so there's something wrong, this happened before, and we're protecting ourselves, whether we react in anger or completely retreat. So that's drawing has helped me heal those past traumas and emotions.
That's really cool.
And then when I've made peace with that emotion or processed that emotion, and let's say someone's angry or coming at me, or there's a stressful situation, I'm not looking at the situation. I don't react to it. So instead it's looking at just calming down. It's like, it'll be fine, it's gonna work out.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're honestly really mature. That's
no, my mom. You should see the podcast, the Michael Beckwith, Susie Lula.
Oh no.
Because you know of Agape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was like her safe haven, because she didn't know anything other than those oh well, if your kid's baggy, you gotta hit them or kick them out. It's like I've had some of my cousins like kicked out of their homes and like.
Wow. Yeah, it's not a fun experience.
No, have you gone through that?
Yeah, but that's
another
a whole
okay.
another interview. But no, I think that's really mature of you to like have that perspective and that understanding of yourself and, like you said, the world around you. That's because even some adults like they
my mom
have a lot of
my mom calls them baby Buddhas. So just think of a little child. They're just screaming and yelling, and they can't harm you unless you let them.
Yeah.
So it's like
people choose the words that they give power. I realized that a long time ago.
That. Yeah.
But it's kind of like the same thing you were saying, just said in the way I understand it. But nah, you're really down.
You should meet my mom. Oh my God, you can do an interview with her.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Wow. Okay, next kind of segues into our next question. In what ways does your childhood and where you grew up inspire your art?
These are actually my mom's words, which I completely agree with. The fertile soil of my hurt and rage.
Like that's the quote.
Yeah, that's what she said. I remember we were talking about this separately, and I was like, "Oh yeah, how did your childhood impact?" And that's what she said. I was like, "This sounds accurate. This sounds about right." But yeah, it wasn't the best. There were definitely some good qualities that I appreciate, and it was better than most. Because I got to, like, for example, the summer camp. I got to experience with those kids. But it really, your childhood really sets your viewpoint on life. Because I wasn't surrounded by artists. I didn't even think art was a thing. Wow. Like, I didn't know that there were, like, I knew there were museums of art, but in my mind, they were, like, old, hundreds-of-year-old history. I didn't think, that there
modern,
was, modern art. I was like, I didn't know what that was.
Interesting.
So, because I was, like, not sheltered from it, but not introduced to it and sort of in a box, it was sort of, like really sad and depressing, like when I got out of the box, and I was like, damn, there were all of these experiences, all these people and these types of thinking. I sort of victimized myself at the beginning, sort of like, well, this sucks, why did this happen to me, like, this is like, sort of like, why couldn't circumstances have been better? And then growing out of that. That's a whole other.
That's like a whole journey in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's just dealing with everything after. It's like, I could see how it has made you stronger. And that's really cool.
Thanks.
I know you have mainly focused. I feel like even in your paintings, now that I think about it, it's mostly like metaphysical ideas. It's not really, I mean, not that it's not reality, but it's like you don't paint like landscapes and like things like that.
Those, like, I actually hate some portraits. Oh, hold on. I'm like, I can take a picture of it. I mean, like, I know the appreciation of the technique and how they do it, but I'm like, I don't feel anything except for, oh, it's pretty.
No, I understand that. I guess me seeing like an old Spanish style house, like painted really nicely. It's like, oh, that's nice. I feel that too. Like, you don't really, unless, I feel like it also depends who painted it. Because there are some artists who, like, they can create a feeling like through a landscape painting or like something like that.
Peacefulness or
something.
If that's their end goal. That makes sense. But I feel like the point of art is to, like, evoke something or teach you something.
Definitely, yeah.
Or like a different point of view of life. But no, like in the one with the skeleton with the iron door in the corner, it's a seraphim angel with actually a skull with coins coming out that was originally supposed to be the second painting, the one in the water, but it was supposed to be on land, but it ended up being on water. But that's yeah, like the metaphysical
Yeah.
journey. Just because that's what my mom studies, metaphysics, and she takes
Oh wow.
classes and teaches classes. So
And you've like sat in and or
yeah,
she
like
just
that's
like
just what I grew up listening to. Like
that's
I fell
cool.
asleep to Michael Beckwith,
Oh wow.
Joe Goldsmith, and Esther Hicks. So that was
Yeah.
so when she started that journey.
Yeah.
So early childhood wasn't the greatest, but then it was reprogramming myself to that. So
Wow. And where do you feel like you are now? Like as far as like unlearning and like unlearning and like learning.
yeah, probably. Um, right now it's that getting out of that self hatred,
Mm.
because right now it's really accepting having more time for me. I forgot who
I
said
love
it,
that.
but it was like because the U.S. is a lonely consumer society. That's what our culture is based off of.
Yeah.
And it's always work hard, work really hard, work. You have to be miserable. You have to work 2 jobs, go to college, do all these extracurricular activities, and sort of kill yourself
Yeah.
at the end of it. And it's
Yeah.
sort of like, well, what about working happily and peaceful and sort of being okay with, like, not working? Like, why does life have to be hard? It can be, like, it can be hard emotionally, but like, I don't have to
Mm.
break my back to.
Just for a couple dollars or
Literally,
something.
like you'll see
Yeah.
an unboxing video, and they'll be making the little kids. They'll be making so much more money. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll go buy little kids toys. I'll do it right here.
But yeah, no, I feel like our society definitely ingrains that in us from a young age, and it's everything like from what we watch
Yeah.
to what we listen to. Like I noticed you didn't like mention music at all. Do you ever like listen to
Oh.
music while you're painting, or
Yes.
listen to music that
Mhm.
inspires a painting?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
For example, well, I guess because my mom didn't let us listen to the radio.
Interesting.
So we had
Yeah.
like 12 songs we would listen over and over again, which when I think I remember one of them was Shakira.
Okay.
And one of them, Hips Don't Lie, of course, that was her favorite. Or like Spanish songs like from Santana. And it was just the same thing over and over again. And I remember middle school when I was introduced to like pop music, and I was like,
wow.
this is so weird. Like, it was like
Something
okay.
different you haven't really
Yeah.
heard before.
And I'm actually learning my new music tastes, because like that's
Interesting.
actually probably another journey going on. It's like being curious and just looking up different musics. Like, oh, what does YouTube have to? What kind of playlist do they have? And then what songs do I like from there?
Yeah.
So
well,
I
could
usually
definitely send you some music.
yeah. But right now I just watch Friends or BoJack Horseman in the background.
Interesting. Especially the whole like the themes explored in like BoJack Horseman and like
Yeah, have you
your
seen
paintings.
BoJack?
I tried to get it. We
It's hard. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the only reason I because it was in the background, like I wasn't watching it.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I was able to get through it.
Oh, you watched the whole season, like all the seasons?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. No, yeah, I didn't sit down with like and took the time to enjoy it because I couldn't really like because it's kind of
understand.
slow.
Yeah.
So it was in the background.
No, I'm kind of the same way. Like if I sit down, I have to, or if I'm watching something, like just because of who I am, I have to like really like
Enjoy
watch
it, yeah.
But no, we were definitely talking about like your childhood. Yeah. What's something you realized? We kind of already touched on this, but what's something you realized about yourself through your art?
Definitely that I'm more powerful than I could ever imagine.
That's
Like,
amazing. Yeah.
Mainly because, of course, my mom with manifestation and the
Yeah.
law of buoyancy, and if you're carrying something heavy, if you let it go, you're gonna bounce right back up. So, like, whether it's an emotional burden or something, a programming again that you've carried throughout your life, and
Yeah.
you gotta let something go to grab onto something else. Yeah.
No, that's cool. So interesting. So you would say more. It's what you learned is more like internal.
Yeah.
Yeah. How strong you
Yeah.
are. You said right.
Yeah, just like because the way you think really does how you think really does manifest the world that you live in.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just like started listening to Neville Goddard's videos.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, I could send you some
Yeah.
if you'd like. Yeah. And he talks about like the power of our imagination and how what he gets into. But yeah, look up Neville Goddard if you're ever interested. If you could meet with anyone, dead or alive, that inspires you, who would it be? I've definitely read that wrong. If you could meet with anyone that inspires you, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you ask them?
I've like obviously in school they've asked that question. It's so hard.
It's not original.
No. But I think Bob Marley.
I like that answer.
Just because he's like, he really changed how people thought about music and life, and he's just so chill. But I don't know. I don't know what I'd ask him. Probably just like his fame. Probably was it all worth it? Like, did he appreciate it? Did he believe that he lived a full life? Type of thing.
Yeah. No, it's a good choice. I feel like your guys' conversation would be really, really cool.
Actually, I realized I had the fan on the entire time. Are you cold?
A little bit.
I'm so sorry. Why didn't you say anything?
It's fine. It's fine. I'm still alive.
The audio.
What wakes you up in the morning?
Definitely pretending I'm the main character of a movie. I actually have these 5 songs that I'll play. If not, no, like really, like, have you heard who
That's so funny.
Two-Way? He makes music. They're used in trailers, movie trailers. Yeah. And
no.
I know it's so cringy, but it works. It gets me up in the morning.
Okay.
And even when I tell people, like, I cringe because it's like pretending you're the superhero, pretending you're like gonna do something big.
Don't let anybody tell you, like, make you feel bad or upset about it.
I've probably only told like 2 people.
Well, now like everybody watching knows.
Yeah, okay. It's cringy, but it works.
No, that's cool. Interesting. I'm not like you're the first person I've come across.
Show you the songs. They're really motivating. They make you like want to go into war. It works.
Interesting. So you're the main character. You are the main character of your movie, and so that's what wakes you up in the morning. I love that, honestly. Like that's beautiful.
Or just a really dramatic song,
like Adele or.
No, have you heard what's it called? It's called Roxanne.
By the Police?
No, not Roxanne. That's the name. It's called Jesus. Phantom of the Opera. There's a song.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's really dramatic. It's like, Roxanne's like the prostitute, and he's like, why?
Never seen
he's like so in love with her. He's like, why? Don't sell yourself. I love you. And it's like super dramatic, of course, with like the orchestra. And I'm like, I'm gonna listen to that to get myself up today. Like I'll pick and choose.
No, I think that's really cool, and that's another way. Wow. Do you feel like no? Do you feel like that's another way like you're inspired in a way?
Yeah. Sort of like because the music, it's sort of like if it's actually comforting. It's like someone's been through what you've been through, and like they believe in you. It's kind of weird to say it like that, but
I
like,
get what you're saying.
Like the point of artists, especially music, is to also convey their emotions and sort of like you're not alone. Like I've also experienced this. It's sort of like, oh, you can do it. So it feels like they're cheering me on.
So hopefully you don't mean that literally. Like you've been in love and like somebody. No,
but it's cool to think that could be possible.
I would hope so. Love is powerful.
Yeah, and part of life. So it's also that. Probably another big journey that some people go through. And I think it's also not just like in love with another person, but it could be like in love with another hobby or with my plants.
It's definitely more of a self-love.
Yeah, that too.
It's the most powerful, or at least in my experience, has been the most powerful, and like it's something that nobody can take away from you. Yeah. It's the only love that'll like never leave you.
That's true.
If that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
And if that love is like shared with another person, when it is separating, it's not like because you love yourself, it's not in a bad way. So it's like sort of, oh, I understand we're going two different paths. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So it's yeah.
That's how life works.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, what is a quote or saying that you live by?
My mom's quote, who has always been told to me since I was a kid, and I've always lived by. It's in Spanish. It's el flojo trabaja doble, and it means the lazy will work twice as hard. So, and she always did it for like simple things. She's like, "Well, wash your dish when you're done, so that it doesn't accumulate and then it takes longer." Or, well, if you leave that assignment for tomorrow, then you don't get to enjoy tomorrow. But today is almost done, so we might as well do it now. Not that I've lived by it all the time, because I'm definitely like, so there's some days.
Human, you know?
Yeah, I'm human.
Yeah.
But that's what she's lived by her whole life. Oh, my mom's so smart. I love her.
That's amazing.
But on small things, that comes back up in my mind, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it right now. Yeah.
I like that. That's definitely needed. Take notes, people. She's only 17 and ahead of a lot of people. You know, it's been really great, like just hearing your story and getting to know you more. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with me. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you walked away from this, you know, learning something more about yourself and ways that you can grow. But that's it for this interview, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.